Hi everyone, it's Kristen. So today is Wednesday. Um, so for Monday we had Crossbones, and it just says on here powers and weapons. In addition to being a dangerous hand-to-hand combatant with extensive martial arts training, he's an expert marksman, proficient with a wide variety of firearms and other ranged weapons. And they didn't mention his face beam from when he got exposed to the Terrigen Mist. But I feel like, some things that writers do in comic books are kind of like an afterthought. They're like, oh, well, this would be cool, but not really thinking about the consequences or thinking about, does that really work? So I feel like that's not like something that's talked about a lot because it was very like random and doesn't seem like him, because he's always been this like mercenary who dealt with weapons and hand-to-hand combat, and just to give him all of a sudden a power just seems kind of like not even power, like enhanced strength, agility, endurance, all that stuff that would make sense for him. No, all of a sudden he has this like beam that comes out of his face that, like, the first time he used it kind of burned and scarred his face somewhat. So just anyway, like I said, interesting that they did not mention that in here. Like I said, I feel like sometimes they're just like, oh, we're gonna pretend that didn't happen. Or we're just gonna gloss over that, just, yeah, sweep it under the rug. Don't really talk about it. It happened, but if we don't acknowledge that it happened, then it didn't really happen. That sort of thing. Sometimes I feel like, yeah, comic books do that. Anyway, he has a pretty extensive history with Diamondback. I talked about that when I talked about Domino #1. Um, yeah, and he also has history, of course, with uh, Mockingbird, not Mockingbird, Agent 13, Sharon Carter, because they both were um, contracted by the Red Skull to kill Captain America, and this is when Sharon Carter had been brainwashed, and so Crossbone was the one, he was the sniper who took the shot at Captain America in the shoulder, and then Sharon Carter stabbed Captain America 3 times, in the chest. Like I said, I talked about that. And he was like, he grew up in New York City. He was a gang leader, and after he had killed a Diamondback's two brothers, he kind of fled and joined Taskmaster's school for criminals, and became, that's where he got his expert in hand-to-hand combat and the weapons, and he even became a instructor there for a time. But he's mostly known as a mercenary and mostly known for working for Red Skull. And he and Red Skull's daughter actually like have a thing going, and they rebuilt and refounded Hydra with, not Hydra. Yeah, sorry. Worked with Red Skull to rebuild his empire, that sort of thing. And he was a member of the Thunderbolts when it was a government like um, entity, or it was under the government. And Luke Cage had joined, and they knew he couldn't be reformed, but they brought him on the team thinking, if people see him on the team, all these other members of the team, they'll hopefully want to reform, because he's like so crazy far gone and just but of course that didn't work. That didn't work very well. And then he was also a member of Wilson Fisk Thunderbolts, when he was the mayor of New York. So anyway, just like a little brief history about him. And then on Tuesday, we have Ant-Man and Wasp. And like, okay, I want to say, like, this doesn't even look like Crossbones, because usually like I mean, it does, but like, usually he's depicted as a broader character, if that makes sense. And probably most of you are thinking about him from Captain America Winter Soldier. You know, he was basically kind of the reason for the Sokovia Accords, the reason that happened. And, you know, then they had to have the Superhero Registration Act. So, and then for, of course, since it's Wednesday, like I said, took me way too long to figure that out. We have a stat card. Yay. So, Black Cat. She's one of my favorite characters. Definitely one of my favorite She's definitely my favorite Spider-Man character. One of my favorite stories about her, or that she's in, is The Evil That Men Do. I will say it's a super, super messed up story. So it's not like light, fun reading. So don't go into it thinking that. But it's like, I remember the first time I read it, and I remember thinking, whoa, I did not see any of this coming. Wow. It's, like I said, it's pretty messed up, pretty dark, but it is a good story. Just because, like I said, I was pretty shocked, pretty surprised. So anyway, let's see. Real name, Felicia Hardy. Occupation, cat burglar. 5'10". Oh, wow, she's tall. Like, I didn't realize she was that tall. 120 pounds. I feel like if you're that tall, and she's definitely, like, she's, you know, like a gymnast and has athletic ability. I feel like if you're that tall, even as a girl, you're going to weigh more than 120 pounds. Just saying. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Like, I'm, you know, 5 feet. So to me, yeah, a girl being 5'10" is really tall. And just, yeah, I would think she would weigh more than 120, like I said. It is what it is. First appearance, Amazing Spider-Man 194, July of 79. Intelligence 2, okay, so normal. Strength 4, okay, that's a little surprising. Speed 3, okay. Durability 2, that makes sense, just normal. Energy 1, that makes sense, because that's like the baseline for humans that have no powers, no energy-based powers. Skills 3. So I thought I was thinking, okay, well, who should I compare her to? So, and of course we have to compare her to Spider-Man. So, of course, Peter is a 4 in terms of intelligence. Strength 4, and Black Cat has strength 4. So, they're even, which I feel like, I don't know. I've never considered them even strength. But that's what this says. Speed 3 for both of them. Okay. I guess I could see that. Durability, he's at a 3. She's at just a 2. Energy, they're both 1. Skills, he's at a 4. She's at a 3. So, I mean, just comparing these two stat cards, you know, Spider-Man would edge her out. Because I think he's more durable and has a higher skill stat. Oh, and he's more, you know, intelligent. So maybe he could think of more strategy and stuff. So, and then I thought, well, it'd be kind of fun to compare her to Black Widow also. So let's see. Intelligence of Black Widow's a 3. Strength, she's only 2 compared to Felicia's 4. Speed, 2. Felicia's 3. Durability, they're the same. Energy, of course, Black Widow has her widow's bites, so that's a 3 compared to 1. Skills 5 compared to 3. So I feel like because Black Widow has the energy-based weapon attack, and she can attack from a distance, like, you know, kind of sting her opponent, stunning them, and then she's really skilled at hand-to-hand combat. I feel like she could win. And she's also, you know, a little bit more intelligent. So, like I said, mostly I'm looking at her skills. 5 compared to 3. And otherwise, they're kind of mostly evenly matched, except for the strength. Felicia's stronger than her. So, yeah, like I said, it would be an interesting battle for sure. So let's see. For the stamp series that, like I said, we're on the Fantastic Four stamp. So let me go back to the beginning of that so you can see it. So this is the stamp. It's broken into 10 stamps, and you're supposed to collect all of them, you know, cut them out and put the puzzle together, like piece them together like a puzzle. So for Monday, this is from Iron Man number 84, March of 76. Also, stamp also appears in Marvel Presents number 5, June of 76. It's interesting because we don't normally have stamps that appear in 2 comic books, not for this stamp series anyway. So this is more of just Johnny's like arm in his flame effect. And then for my hair got caught. For Tuesday, this is from Marvel Team Up number 42. They answered everything in the universe. I don't know if you guys got that reference. Let me know if you did. This is from February of 76. And this is, you know, Reed, his face, his head. And then Wednesday, wow, okay. Amazing Adventures number 34, January of 76. Johnny, his leg and more flame effect. I feel like he takes up a lot of this stamp. Let's look at this stamp again and see like how much of this stamp he takes up. Oh yeah, see look, he takes up the top half of the stamp picture basically. So yeah, he is most of the stamp. Because his picture, or his, you know, if you don't count the Fantastic Four logo, he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then everyone else, you know, takes up these like Sue and the Thing are basically, well, in 2 stamps. Anyway, yeah, I mean he's the biggest character in terms of taking up the most room in this stamp picture. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you join me in the future for more videos. Dazzler's laying in her tray again. Yeah, she used to like, you know, pass in front of the camera, you know, look in the camera, poke around. She hasn't done that in a little while though, but now she just sees me setting up my equipment, goes and gets in her tray and goes to sleep. Takes a nap. So maybe one of these days she'll actually join us for the video and be in front of the camera again. I guess she's feeling a little bit camera shy these days. I get that. I feel like that sometimes, but anyway, I hope you, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you join me in the future for more videos. Until next time, bye.